Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about Progress 8 in 2017, and I'm sure you've actually just received your figures for 2016 a couple of weeks ago, and you'll have seen that the expected attainment 8 scores have gone up compared to 2015 or 2014. Now, the reason why they've gone up is due to the fact that in the majority of cases, schools have been better at structuring their curriculum for Progress 8 in 2016 than they were in 2015. And this is fairly obvious in the sense that those pupils that did their exams in 2015 wouldn't have actually started until 2012, 2013 doing their Key Stage 4. And when they started, Progress 8 wasn't really on the radar. So schools would still be structuring themselves for 5A start to C. Particularly lower ability or middle ability students would be doing maybe not doing the full set of EBaccs or maybe not doing English literature. Whereas in 2016, those pupils started in 2014, and hence they were already getting, the schools were getting better at putting their curriculum in place for Progress 8, and so the amount of EBacc subjects being filled, the amount of students in English literature was much higher. And so therefore, you've had that rise. Now, that rise will happen again, because in 2017, there is going to be more pupils doing their EBacc subjects and probably more pupils doing English literature. It might not be as significant, but there's still probably going to be that rise. And as you can see from this graph here, there was a much higher rise in the low ability and middle ability students than there were in the high ability. And the reason for that is that low ability and middle ability are much less likely to have been doing English literature or to be doing a full set of EBaccs or even to just be doing 8 subjects in total. So therefore that has had that increase, and I suggest that that's probably going to be where the increase will happen again. Now, it doesn't just stop there though, because actually for Progress 8 in 2017, there is a complete change in point scores as part of the Attainment 8. And with this change in point scores, with the new 1 to 9 in English and Maths, and the sort of adjusted point scores for all your other subjects, this will have a knock-on effect that will cause the expected Attainment 8 scores to actually drop. But they're not actually dropping, they're dropping just relative to the point scores that are being provided. So just to give you an example with this, at the moment, in 2016, that data you've just received, a C is worth 5 points. So if a pupil gets straight C's, then they will get 50. Now, in 2017, a C is worth 4 points. So if a student gets straight C's, and they get 4s in English and Maths, in the new English and Maths, which is what 2/3 of C grade students will get, then they would actually get 40 points. So rather than getting 50, they will actually get 40. Now, that means that the expected Attainment 8 scores, the estimated Attainment 8 scores, are going to go down quite significantly. Not because pupils are underperforming, not due to any change in curriculum, just due to the fact that the point scores are worth less. So that drop will be felt. Now, it's not going to be as significant at the higher end, with a B only being worth 5.5 rather than 6. An A is worth 7 again, and an A star is worth 8.5. So actually there's probably a slight rise at the top. However, down at the lower ends, they are worth less. So therefore, you're going to have a much more significant drop in the expected Attainment 8 scores of those points. Now, the final thing to talk about in a bit more detail is the fact that you've got a new 1 to 9 score in English. So therefore, right at the top end, those pupils that get those 5.8s or 6s at primary school, they're going to be looking at a good number of them are probably going to be getting 9s. So therefore, a student can get a 9 in English and a 9 in Maths, then they get that double, that's going to get them 36 points. Plus, if that 9 goes into the other sector as well, in the other bucket, so that'll give them 45 points. Plus the 40 that they would get for straight A stars. So that means that potentially they can now get 85 rather than 80. And so you're likely to see it right at the top end there, a slight increase due to the fact that they can get 5 points higher. In terms of at the bottom end, in terms of in the middle actually, looking at the C's, a 5 is no longer worth a C. A 5 and a C are not the same thing. So a 5 is actually what 1/3 of C grade students will get. So 2/3 of your C grade students are likely to get 4s. So therefore, going back to my previous example, this means a large majority of pupils will get those straight 4s. So Predicting your Progress 8 score in 2017 is not going to be easy to do. You already have the fact that you have like 150 different students that you are all doing 8 or more subjects that you need to predict accurately. But on top of that, you've got the changes to the point scores, you've got the fact that its estimated attainment 8 scores are likely to change, and so on. And then, you know, the new 1 to 9 for English and Maths is going to have an impact. So the knock-on effect from this is that when you are evaluating your data, when you're setting targets, you just need to make sure that you've got all of this and kept it all in mind. And another thing is to really educate your staff about these new changes so that they understand why different point scores are appearing, why targets are set at certain points. And I think that is really, really key to a school tackling Progress 8 well in 2017.